I'm going to call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Minneapolis City Council to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano
Here.
is
Yeah.
absent. Gordon.
Here.
Kano.
Here.
Reich is absent. Bender is absent. Glidden.
Here.
Yang.
Here.
Johnson is absent. Quincy.
Here.
Warsami.
Present.
Goodman.
Present.
President Johnson.
Here.
There are 9 members present.
We have a quorum present. Next item on the agenda is adoption of the agenda. Any changes or additions to the agenda? Seeing none, a motion to accept the agenda is in order.
So moved.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded. All in approval, say aye. Aye. Opposed, that carries. Next, we have acceptance of the minutes of the regular meeting and adjourned session of October 9th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval, say aye. Aye. Opposed, that carries. The reports of the standing committees are next, and the first is the Claims Committee, and that committee is chaired by Councilmember Goodman.
Thank you, Madam President. The Claims Committee is bringing one item forward for approval this morning. This is rescinding the right of appeal by the City Council Claims Committee and moving the right of appeal to a staff claims committee. We discussed this in claims one cycle ago. This did go to Ways and Means, and I am supporting moving it forward today. So with that, I'll move item number 1 for approval.
Councilmember Goodman has moved the Claims Committee report. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Fry.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye. I'm sorry, here.
Goodman.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Committee of the Whole. And that committee, excuse me, is chaired by Council Vice President Glidden.
Thanks, Madam Chair. We have 2 items on the agenda. The first is approving the 2016 City Council and Committees calendar. The second was staff direction regarding enterprise racial equity efforts relating to our enterprise racial equity update. And I will move both those items.
Councilmember Glidden has moved the Committee of the Whole report. Any discussion on any of those items? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Community Development and Regulatory Services report, and that committee is chaired by Councilmember Goodman.
Thank you, Madam President. The Community Development and Regulatory Services Committee is bringing 13 items forward for approval this morning. Items number 1 through 8 are land sales to Wilson Molina. These are 8 vacant and boarded houses on the north side in the 4th and 5th ward that one gentleman and his small business are going to be rehabbing and then marketing for sale for owner occupancy on the north side. Item number 9 is a bond issuance for Senior Care Providence. Item 10 are the licensed consumer services agenda. Item 11 is a project authorization analysis at the Wellington condominiums. Item 12 is probably the largest item on our agenda, the whole council agenda today. This is an allocation of our 2016 low-income housing tax credits. They total about $1.4 million, which when syndicated provides equity in the amount of about $14 million for 3 extremely affordable projects in the city. They include YouthLink Supportive Housing, Marshall Flats, Clare Housing, and PRG's portfolio number 1. Item number 13 is a resolution authorizing applications to various federal and state agencies for environmental cleanup grants. With that, I'll move items 1 through 13 for approval this morning.
Councilmember Goodman has moved the Community Development Regulatory Services report. Any discussion on any of those items? Councilmember Yang.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to make a comment with regards to items 1 through 8. I think this is substantial and amazing. And, I wish Mr. Molina well in terms of rehabbing all 8 homes there. I think that it's going to make a huge impact on the north side, especially if he's successful. And I wish him every good wish there is for him to be successful so that maybe he can continue on and do another 8 more, another 80 more. We have plenty of houses on the north side to see folks rehab, and maybe this is a good example for other folks to follow. But we'll cross our fingers and see when it's done.
Any further discussion on the Community Development and Regulatory Services report? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Health, Environment, and Community Engagement report, and that committee is chaired by Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you, Council President. The Health, Environment, and Community Engagement Committee is bringing forward 8 items for approval. The first 2 have to do with appointments to our advisory committees. The first is confirming the mayoral appointment for 2-year terms beginning January 1, 2015 and ending December 31st, 2016 of Marie Listopad, Corin Morton, Rosalind Sampson, Mohammed Isa, Donna Hemp, and Joan Wilshire. The second is approving the appointment of Yolanda Adams Lee to fill an unexpired 2-year term beginning January 1, 2015 and ending December 31st, 2016 for a member at large of the Public Health Advisory Committee. The third item is authorizing acceptance of a $10,000 grant from the Environmental Initiative to support the urban forestry project by planting trees on commercial properties. Fourth item is authorizing acceptance of $125,000 grant from the U.S. Department of Justice for our work with youth violence prevention. The third item is authorizing an amendment to a contract with Megan Ellison LCC, increasing the contract by $25,000 for a revised total of $75,000 and extending that for consultation services for the Healthy Living Program. The sixth item is authorizing an agreement with Afaxis Inc. for a group purchasing program that will help us get better prices on our pharmaceutical and medical products at our school-based clinics. The seventh item is authorizing the Ryan White HIV/AIDS Treatment Extension Act of 2009. This is an intergovernmental agreement, and Minneapolis is a participant, and this will allow us to be included in the grant area. And the final item is perhaps the biggest item on the agenda, which is authorizing staff to negotiate and execute a solar electricity subscription agreement for up to 12 million kilowatt hours of electricity through the Metropolitan Council's RFP process that they went through. We're also moving forward a staff direction asking our staff to move forward developing an RFP for our own community solar garden service. I'll just note that while we're authorizing them to negotiate to participate in the solar garden project, there are so many localities that are also participating. There'll be a lottery to even find out if we can participate, so we may not actually get the kilowatt hours that we're hoping to through the solar garden. So with that, I'll move all 8 items forward for approval.
Councilmember Gordon has moved, excuse me, the Health, Environment, and Community Engagement report. Anyone want to pull anything off or discuss any of those items? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Intergovernmental Relations report. That committee is chaired by the Council Vice President Elizabeth Glidden.
Thanks, Madam President. There's one item. It is regarding the Federal Clean Power Plan. This would be adopting support for this as part of our 2016 federal legislative agenda and directing the city attorney to participate in taking action as necessary to defend the legality of the rules proposed. I'll move that item.
Councilmember Glidden has moved the Intergovernmental Relations report. Any discussion on that item? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsami.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have Public Safety, Civil Rights, and Emergency Management, and that committee is chaired by Councilmember Yang.
Thank you, Madam President. We have 3 items today for approval. The first item is accepting and granting an amount of $600,000 from the Department of Justice for our police body-worn camera program and passage of a resolution approving appropriation. The second item is accepting a grant in the amount of $120,000 from the Department of Justice Bureau of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention for the implementation of a new national initiative multi-strategy coordinator position and passage of resolution approving appropriation. And the third item is to accept the 2015 Urban Area Security Initiative grant in the amount of $990,000 from the Minnesota Department of Public Safety and passage of a resolution approving appropriation. And I will move all 3 items for approval.
Councilmember Yang has moved the Public Safety, Civil Rights, and Emergency Management Report. Anyone want to pull anything off or discuss any of those items? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsani.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Transportation and Public Works Report, and that committee is chaired by Councilmember Reich.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee will be forwarding 11 items today for council consideration. Item 1 was moved without recommendation. That's a passage of resolution approving special service districts for the listed districts. The issue in terms of some of the management of the snow storage has been resolved by staff identifying short-term and some long-term pathways to make that better. So we'll be recommending approval today. Item 2 is the water and sewer service line repair assessments, resolution adopting the levy of those assessments, and make sure that the remaining unpaid adopting the rolls and directing transmittal of the assessment rolls to the Hennepin County Auditor. That vote will require 9 votes. Motion will be distributed on Friday to extend the repayment period of 5 to 10 years of the new sewer service repair assessments against property located at 4140 Chicago, and I believe someone will be speaking to that issue once I get through the agenda. Item 3 is the 6th Avenue North paving project variance request. Proceed with the variance request from Minnesota Department of Transportation aid rules for the vertical profile of 6th Avenue North from 5th Street North to Washington Avenue North. Following items referred to the Ways and Means Committee. Item 4 is the 9th Street, 11th Street, 12th Street, and 7th Avenue North Street resurfacing projects. Postponement and reduction of the assessments as listed. Item 5 is the St. Anthony Parkway Bridge Street Reconstruction Project postponement assessments due to delay in the project schedule. Item 6 is the 24th Street, Snelling Avenue Street Reconstruction Project postponement assessments. And that is due to collection times for that project. Item 7 is the 34th Avenue South, 43rd Street East resurfacing project, cancellation reduction of assessments, again, adjustments per the project. 8, controller conversion intelligent traffic signal enhancement project agreement, and that's an agreement with the Minnesota Department of Transportation to use federal aid funds to pay for that project and authorize the execution of construction cooperative agreement with the Hennepin County for the execution of the project. Item 9 is the Southern Northeast Minneapolis Watershed Modeling Project, and that's a partnership with the Watershed District, Mississippi Watershed Management Organization to model that area of the city. It's part of an ongoing modeling that will go citywide. Item 10 is accepting the single bid of ramp construction in the amount of $373,733.37 to deliver all materials for the ABC parking facility repair project and authorizing a contract for that project. And the final is bid for snow removal, low bid on custom products for a total estimated annual expenditure of $906,520 to furnish and deliver all labor and materials. That was the item actually, in fact, which is related to item 1, which was sent for a recommendation, but we're recommending, as noted, approval. So with that, Madam Chair, I move all 11 items as stated, though I know there'll be something pulled by Councilmember Palmisano.
Councilmember Reich has moved the Transportation and Public Works Report. Councilmember Palmisano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to just note that for number 2, I'm not sure how I move this along with it, but if he will accept this as a friendly amendment, I'd like to move, as you see in front of you, that the repayment period for the sewer service repair assessment against the property at 4140 Chicago Avenue be extended from 5 to 10 years. That would help that resident to be able to make that in an appropriate time. And then the other property that we heard the appeal for. I'd like to actually pull that for one cycle as Public Works is trying to work with that particular property owner on that particularly large assessment.
Okay, Councilmember Palmisano has moved the Transportation Public Works Report motion in front of you, extending the payment repayment time frame for 4140 Chicago, and then pulling the second item for one cycle. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all in approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. Councilmember Fry.
Thank you, Madam President. Just briefly on item number 3, 6th Avenue North paving project. This is a substantially difficult street to deal with given the presence of both bricks as well as the asphalt, and I just want to thank staff for all of their good work on it.
Any further discussion on the Transportation Public Works Report? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsame.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the Ways and Means Report, and that committee is chaired by Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam President. Ways and Means has 19 items on our agenda this morning. The first 7 are workers' compensation claim settlements. Item number 8 is a property damage subrogation lawsuit. 9 and 10 are personal injury lawsuit settlements. Item number 11 is the donation of billboard display time from Clear Channel Outdoor. Item number 12 is the appointments to the Minneapolis Television Network Board. 13 is the bid for trench drain replacement project at the Convention Center. Items 14, 15, and 16 are related to, the first is the 2015 property tax special assessment of delinquent utility charges, the temporary financing for Nicollet Mall project with U.S. Bank, and then the statewide interoperable radio system upgrade. Excuse me. There are 3 IT related items. The 17 is a contract with Equifax Workforce Solutions for claims processing. 18 is a contract amendment with Microsoft for Premier Core support services. And number 19 is the IT contract with Hennepin County for the pictometry aerial imaging software license. I'd like to move all 19 items for approval.
Councilmember Quincy has moved the Ways and Means Report. Anyone want to pull off any of those items or discuss any of those items? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsame.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the reports of special committees, and the first special committee is the Audit Committee, and that is chaired by Councilmember Palmisano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There were 3 reports accepted and published during this week's Audit Committee meeting. The first is the Complaint Protocol Consult Memorandum, referring that document to the internal auditor, which the Audit Committee did. The second report is the Internal Controls Program Consult, referring this with recommendation to refer it to Committee of the Whole, so I will move that. And the third is the Records Management Audit, also referring that to Committee of the Whole, as both of these items have enterprise-wide impacts.
Councilmember Palmisano's moved the Audit Committee report. Any discussion on that item? Seeing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Fry.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Glidden.
Aye.
Yang.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Warsame.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
President Johnson.
Aye.
There are 13 ayes.
That report is adopted. Next, we have the introduction and referral calendar, and the first introduction is an introduction by Councilmember Gordon pursuant to notice to introduce the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to housing for first reading and referral to Community Development and Regulatory Services, adding provisions providing for the licensure and regulation of emergency shelters. Any discussion on that introduction? Seeing none, all in approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Under new business, we have a notice by Councilmember Palmisano. She gives notice of intent to introduce at the next regular meeting of the City Council the subject matter ordinance amending the code relating to the zoning code, revising the Linden Hills Overlay District and pedestrian-oriented overlay district, and amending the zoning map with the guidance of the Linden Hills Small Area Plan. That notice is given. The second one is Councilmember Goodman gives notice of intent to introduce at the next regular meeting of the City Council the subject matter and ordinance amending the code relating to amending regulations as part of the Business Made Simple initiative. That notice is given. Next, we have under composting regulations, Councilmember Wright gives notice of intent to introduce at the next regular meeting of the City Council the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to housing maintenance code, amending provisions related to composting to add new definitions of acceptable and prohibited materials and to clarify enforcement requirements. That notice is given. Councilmember Wright also gives notice of intent to introduce at the next regular meeting of the City Council the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to zoning, amending regulations related to snow storage. That notice is given. Councilmember Quincy and myself give notice of intent to introduce at the next regular meeting of the City Council a subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to administration, ethics, and government, amending provisions relating to trust and accountability in the ethics code. That notice is given. Councilmember Palmisano and Councilmember Gordon give notice of intent to introduce at the next regular meeting of the City Council the subject matter of an ordinance amending the code relating to the food code, amending regulations for mobile food vehicle vendors. That notice is given. I give notice of intent to introduce at the next meeting of the City Council the subject matter of an ordinance to the zoning code regulations regarding fences. That notice is given. Then we have the item that I'm sure a number of people are here to discuss. The first is a motion to return to author the subject matter of an ordinance amending the Minneapolis Code of Ordinance entitled Working Families, which was introduced on September 25th, 2015, and canceling the public hearing previously scheduled for November 4th, 2015. This motion essentially takes us out of the part of the Working Families agenda that was regarding scheduling. That's my intent in this. And then there are two following motions to deal with the sick leave portion of the Working Families agenda. So on that motion, is there any discussion? Councilmember Glidden.
Thanks, Madam Chair, for the opportunity just to make a brief comment. And I appreciate, too, that you have laid these out here separately so we can each sort of voice our thoughts on them and vote on these items. How it works around here is you either have majority support for something to move forward or you don't. And I think what's happening right here is there's not majority support for this item to continue to be on the agenda. I was one of the authors of this original item. And I just wanted to say a few words about why I felt it was important myself to bring it forward and why I still think it's a very important issue to continue to work on, and I'm not giving up. We've talked in generalities for a long time in this city, and we still do, about disparities, about the fact that we are close to the worst in the nation or the worst in the nation with inequality and disparities. We acknowledge the economy isn't working for everyone. We acknowledge that the economic recovery has not helped everyone. But this was a way to identify a more specific problem, an issue that we heard about from workers, an issue that we heard was being researched to kind of talk about what's the breadth and the depth of the problem, and the problem is about scheduling. Scheduling issues that primarily affect low-wage workers, people of color, women. That's the stories that we heard, that's the data that we saw. These are issues about unpredictable schedules. how more and more in our society we're seeing workplaces that schedule up to the last minute, change hours week to week, so you can't depend on what's going to be your income for the week. It could be 4 hours one week, 40 hours another week. And also we heard about how we really haven't been thinking properly about the costs of some of this unpredictability. So what's happening is the least able people to carry those costs, workers in low-wage jobs, are being asked to accommodate all the costs of changing their schedule at the very last minute, having to get new child care arrangements, having to ask someone else to come home and help take care of grandpa, whatever the case may be. That's what happens. You know, and I can understand that not everybody can agree with the process of how the ordinance proposal rolled out, or even particulars of the policy solution. But I think what has been lost in this conversation, because we've had a lot of conversation about challenges around the proposed policy solution, we've lost our way in thinking about this was actually in response to talking about a very specific problem, a problem that's happening around the country and in the city of Minneapolis. And this was our way to say, we need to take action on a problem. We can't wait to take action on a problem, and we need to move it forward. So I disagree with this action. I'm voting against it. I understand that my colleagues, the majority of them, don't feel this way, and I understand that too. And I guess my message is I'm going to continue working on this problem. I'm going to continue to fight for solutions to this problem. And I think together we need to work with the community on how we continue to bring back this issue, and that policy solutions are appropriate to dealing with the issues of fair scheduling.
Councilmember Bender.
Thank you, Madam President. As another one of the council members that stepped up to author the work that we all agreed to unanimously begin in April, when we passed our resolution supporting a strong economy and working families, I share Councilmember Glidden's perspective that now is not the time to back away from what has become a very difficult conversation in our city. We started this conversation because we know that too many working people do not have simple protections in their workplaces. They do not know how many hours they're going to get at their jobs. They cannot plan for basic necessities like childcare, like food, like rent, because they don't even know if they'll be working 4 hours a week or 40. As our economy has changed so that more and more people are relying on low wage, minimum wage, part-time jobs, the workplace protections that people need have changed. You know, in the 1930s, we had a situation where our federal government stepped in and said people are working too many hours. The Fair Labor Standards Act created some basic protections that hit at those root causes of exploitation in that time. But we are in a different time now. We're in a time where too many people cannot meet their basic needs because they do not have the basic protections that are the reality in today's economy. You know, we started a conversation that opened up some difficult divides. It has become clear to me in this discussion that poverty is invisible in our city to too many people. When I hear people say that scheduling policies are a solution in search of a problem, that tells me that they do not believe the people who are coming forward and sharing their painful personal stories. The woman who stood outside at City Hall and said, I lost my job because my sister had my kids and she got called into her job at the last minute and she had no choice. So she had to call me at my job and I left because what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do with my children in this moment? As a mother, I don't know what she's supposed to do, so she left her job. She went home and she took care of her children and she got fired. How is she supposed to provide food for her family now? We have accepted as a reality in the city that our children are hungry and that we will feed them when they go to school in the morning. We have accepted that as a reality in the city. That's the right thing to do. We should step up and we should provide kids with food at school, but what if we work together to address these root causes of poverty together? And what if in a moment where it gets hard, where people are saying to us, you know, you're not listening to the businesses in the community, you're not right, you're not bringing forward the right ideas? What if in this moment, instead of turning back, we stand together and we say there are people in our business community stepping up? I can't tell you how many people from our business community, large and small, have come to me and said, I understand what you're trying to do and I respect it. And I'm so proud that you're doing this. You're standing up like this and I want to help. Some of our wealthiest business owners have said that to me. Some of my most beloved small neighborhood businesses have said that to me, and I will take them up on that offer, along with anyone else who is willing to continue this conversation, to lead this fight that we need to take now in this moment. This is not the time to turn back. This is the time to stand together and to say, you know what, maybe we don't have the perfect solutions, but we all recognize together that there is a problem in our city. And this is not the time to turn back. This is the time to stand together with our business community, with our workers, together with each other, and move forward to find those solutions. I will not stop until we find those solutions. I thank everyone who has participated in this very long, very robust public discussion, from my smallest businesses to the largest employers and to all of the workers who have spent their time. Thank you.
Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you very much. I'm also not supporting this return to author, which it actually does two things, I think. And in and of itself, this is the way we most definitely kill things that we're working on here as a city, as we return them to author. I recognize there's future actions coming forward, but they're different, at least proposed, and we don't even know if they'll pass. So for the moment, we will be killing any discussions on earned sick and safe, as well as on fair scheduling. And I'm not comfortable doing that, and I also think it's unnecessary. We're also canceling the public hearing that we unanimously supported just a little while ago, that we pretty much made a commitment to the city that we would have